Yan. I'm proud of him. Dito pa, isa pang kuya ko po, si Atty. Villegas ng CCW. At yung kami ko, ito yung maestro, si Paglinawan. At at this point in time, marami tayong dapat na malinawan sa mga nangyayari. Lalong-lalo na kala nila namatay na yung
nag-charge na?
pinal na kaso ni Atty. Adaza. Attorney, ito nga kami ng update sa ginawa mong kapailang kaso.
Good morning. Alam nyo, maraming nagsasabi na hindi pwede daw mahabla si Pnoy for treason. Treason is defined under Article 114 of the Constitutional Code. Anong treason? Subject. Any citizen who levies war against the Republic of the Philippines or adheres to her enemies, giving aid or comfort, commits treason. Punishable by reclusion perpetua to death. Pero wala ng death ngayon. And a fine of 100,000 pesos. Yan ang definition ng treason. Ang tanong, ano bang nagawa ni Pnoy na masabi natin treason? Pagtaksil sa bayan. Tingnan natin yung definition. Yung una, levies war against the Republic of the Philippines, si Iqbal yan, si Jafar at si Murad. Kaya nga kasama dyan sa treason sila Murad because they claim to be Filipino citizens. Doon ngayon may sinasabi na hindi sila Filipino citizens. But even if they are not Filipino citizens, they are punishable under Section 3 or Paragraph 3 of Article 1114. It refers any foreigner or any alien who wages war against the Republic of the Philippines is also guilty of treason. Ang penalty rin, reclusion perpetua to death. So, hindi ko ka-escapo sila siya. Ang tanong ng karamihan, ano bang ginawa ni Pnoy na adhering to the enemies, giving it aid or comfort? Meaning, sinasamahan o kalaban ng Republika, number 1, nagbibigay ng ano ba yung aid sa Tagalog? Tulong. Nagbibigay ng tulong, comfort. Yung tulong na comfort. Una, hindi ba will publicize yung trip ni Pnoy doon sa Tokyo? Binigyan ni Pnoy ang email through Murad 5 million. Ano yan? Hindi ba adhering to the enemies yan? Hindi ba giving aid or comfort? Kung hindi sabihin nila sa mga sakop ni Pnoy na hindi aid and comfort, palitan natin yung dictionary sa English. Baka hindi na natin mabasa ang kahulugan ng adhering, giving aid or comfort. Palitan na natin. Babalik tayo sa panahon na may sinulat si George Orwell, yung famous novel niya, 1984. In 1984, ang black, white, and white, black. So, tingnan natin kung gusto nilang ibalik ay 1984.
Sama mo.
Ikalawa,
Ipanutin mo lang ito.
si Pnoy, so his helpers, si Ferrer at si Davis, hindi yung isda, yung Secretary Davis, entered into an agreement, FAB and CAB.
Thank you.
Sa agreement na yan, ito ang sinasabi na kailangan ipapasa sa Kongreso ang BBLO, Bangsamoro Law. Ikalawa, habang ipapasa yon, binibigyan nila ang imailef ng teritoryo na hindi mapasok maski kanino kung walang permiso ang imailef. Isa pa, may mga puder na silang binigay habang wala pa, may isa pa ang BBL. Okay. Tanong, yung gawain ito ni Pnoy at kanyang grupo, pagbibigay ng teritoryo, labag ba yan sa saligang batas? Labag, Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 1 of the Constitution defines national territory. Ang definition ng national territory, klaro-klaro. Pag ibigay mo ang teritoryo ng Pilipinas ng ibang tao, hindi mo papalitan ang saligang batas. Aba, labag yan sa saligang batas. Ang soberenya ng bansa is indivisible. Hindi mo ma-split yung sovereignty of the country. Nabigay nila ang portion of the sovereignty of the country on the territory given to them by Pnoy. Violation rin yan ng Article 1 of the Constitution. Okay. Ikatlo, sa may dalawang report na ngayon. At the very beginning, I was convinced kasi yung mga resource persons, yung nagtatanong, you have to read between the lines. Sa mga sinungaling na, kaya mababasa mo in between. Ang sinungaling na, read between the lines because a number of them are lying, including the President. He was lying to his teeth. Alam mo, I've been trying cases for the past 50 years. I know when a witness is lying. I know when a witness is lying. I'm saying that most of them were lying in the hearings in the Senate and the House. Tingnan mo yung report. Klaro-klaro yan sa report na the fourth person to blame is Pnoy. He was the architect of the BBL. He was the architect of the FAB and the CAB. He is the architect of the operation on dictation of the Americans. Bakit masabi mo yan? Read between the lines. Na Peñas was interviewed in television. Anong sabi ni Peñas na bakit hindi na pa alam kay Rojas kay Espina? Hindi daw pinaalam kay Rojas kay Espina because yung Marwan operation is like the Bin Laden operation. Yung Bin Laden operation, hindi daw pinaalam sa gobyerno ng Pakistan. Why? Because it was an American operation. Kung hindi pinapaalam nila ang Marwan operation dito, one-on-one, it's an American operation. Bakit magsisinungaling pa tayo? Bakit matatakot pa sila na klarong-klaro naman ng Amerikano? Ngayon sa BOI report, klaro. Sa Senate report, klaro. Di nagsisinungaling na tayo sa isang natin. Ang pinakamasamang sinungaling kung magsinungaling ka na sa sarili mo. And many of these people are lying to themselves. Hindi tama. Ano pa? Yung BBL law. Ano yung BBL law? Treason from the very beginning. Ang unang tanong, ang agreement tulad nitong BBL, magdala ba ng kapayapaan sa Mindanao? Only fools will think that there will be peace in Mindanao with the BBL. Mga gago lang yun. Ang naniwala dyan. Taga Mindanao ako eh. I was the first person to organize a regional political party against Marcos. When the national opposition, including Ninoy and the rest of them, did not like to fight Marcos in the elections of 1978, they just joined me later after 2 weeks. It took somebody from Mindanao to say that. Okay. Meaning, I know my people. You know, when I was editor-in-chief of the Philippine Collegian at the University of the Philippines, my main supporters and protectors, because I was only 92 pounds, were Muslims. Tausog, Mananaos, and Magindanaos. So I know them. Many of these people are my friends. But, tatanungin mo siya, tatanungin si Sinor. Kliyente ko si Sinor nung araw. Hanggang dumating si first gentleman sabi, bayaan mo si Adaza. Bayaan mo si Adaza, pwedeng ma-release ka. So kung ako mabukado, hindi siya ma-release. Bayaan mo ako. Kaibigan tayo, gusto kong ma-release ka. Okay. Hindi sangayon si Sinor. Ang Tauso at ang MLF, malaking grupo yan. Doon mismo sa Maguindanao at mga Maranao, hindi sangayon. May BIFF na. Bangsamoro Freedom Fighters. That's about the split. Split yan ng MLF. Ngayon, mayroon pang iba. Jim. Split. Nahuli na daw nila. Yung leader ng Jim, pero nandiyan pa ang Jim. Okay. Nandiyan ang Abu Sayyaf. Nandiyan ang CPP-NP. And gathering strength. Gathering strength. Especially in my area, in Northern Mindanao. How can there be peace? And taking into consideration, there are Lumats and civilians like me. who are against the BBL. And he will help them. If with the majority of the people of Mindanao, the Lumad Christians like me, will make our moves. So then, it starts with a stupid, incompetent, and ignorant assumption that there will be peace in Mindanao with BBL. Ngayon, sinasabi pa ni Iqbal, pag papalitan ninyo dyan ng isang sentence, hindi na pwede. Babalikan yung pagka-revolutionaryo. I-revolutionaryo nga sila. You know, in government, when you are in insurgent group, you are an enemy of the people and you are an enemy of the republic. You are friends of Pnoy, but Pnoy is not the republic. He is not the people. You are friends of Ferrer, Deles. They are not the republic. They are not the people. The people are against them. Boss mo kaya niyang people. Hindi nakikinig eh. Problema sa ulo yan. Sabi ni Pipi. Bakit hindi nakikinig? It's a mental problem. So, yung members of the cabinet sana, my duty sila under the Constitution. It's not only the physical incapacity of the President that should be looked into. Magbabasa mo na sila ng kanilang constitutional law. Even the mental frame of the President is subject to be inquired into. Why is the cabinet silent? Bakit? Diba? All these things, alam mo, from A to Z ang violation itong BBL. Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Article 5, Article 7. Halos lahat na articles violated in the BBL law. Why, mga ignorant din itong mga congressmen? Yung mga senador, may mga abogado ito eh. Pero kung base natin sa naisipan ni Drilon, alam mo nung araw ni Cory, Secretary of Justice ito eh. Ang kanyang invention, his legal invention is rebellion complex with murder and multiple frustrated murder. Bakit? Inibito ni Drilon yan upang makulong si Enrilet ako. Okay? Rebellion complex with murder. Dinala namin si Office Suprema. My bond, si Enrilet 3,000. Sa akin, 100,000. Because sabi ni Drilon, ako daw ang mastermind sa COVID-19. Pagkagago naman. Nandiyan ako sa London at the time. Ako magmamastermind. Ako nagmastermind. Nandito ako. Hindi ako duwag. Based on my own experience. They should examine my records from elementary school up to the University of the Philippines. And when I was a member of parliament, I did not bow down to any one of them. And I had no ambition. That was my mistake. I helped in deposing Marcos. I had no ambition. I just wanted Cory to do well. Mali pala yun. Gloria rin. Mga hindi lang, sabi sa'yo, kasabi natin si Angelo. Sumama ko. Usap ko ng Angelo. Mukhang nakumbinsi siya sa after 1 month, he withdrew support from Iraq. His closest friend. Because in Angelo, I told him, you choose between friendship and the country. And the poor guy choose the country. Kaya nga, ito sila, the BBL is dead from the very beginning. Sabi niya yung dilema, there can be no suit, there is immunity from suit. May immunity from suit, ha? But suit makes reference to a court of law. To a court of law. Meaning criminal court, civil court, or administrative court. Here, the administrative court is Congress because of impeachment. But is it the ombudsman to a court? The ombudsman conducts investigation. Conduct investigation. And if Pnoy will survive his term, any fool of a lawyer will file the case for treason. Any fool of a lawyer, even a freshman student of the UP College of Law, will tell you that the case of treason will be filed. Definitely, after his term, that is if he survives his term. Because as of the present moment, you cannot be sure. Suppose the people changes its mind, his popularity is declining. 36, meaning 64%, 54% of our people don't like him. Okay, 36 na lang siya, and going down. Okay, if the people changes its mind and invokes Section 1 of Article 2 of the Constitution, the Philippines is a republican and democratic state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. EDSA 1, EDSA 2. Section 3, Article 2 of the Constitution. The civilian authority is at all times supreme to the military. The armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state. Its goal is to secure the sovereignty of the state and the integrity of the national territory. Suppose, just suppose, just like Angelo Reyes, who changed his mind after taking a look at the Constitution and the national situation of the country. Suppose, if Katapang will change his mind. If Katapang doesn't change his mind, suppose if the CGPA will change his mind, because this provision does not only govern the chief of staff, it governs every soldier of the armed forces of the Philippines. Suppose if there is a young colonel, like commonly before, in Laos, makes a move in accordance with this provision of the Constitution, what happens to Pnoy and the institution? It will be blown into kingdom come. Huwag naman siya magsasabi na itong mga oppositors to the BBL, mga kulang ng pansin, mga troublemakers ito. Aba, bata pa siya noon nang nakipaglaban kami ni Marcos. Naglalaro pa siya ng mga laruan niya. Hanggang ngayon, naglalaro pa siya. Ay, sabi niya sa sagasaan kami, aba, he should look at himself in the mirror. We toppled Marcos, the most brilliant president of this country. We toppled Erick, the most popular president of this country. He's not brilliant. He's not the most popular. And he says he cannot be toppled. I'm not saying that I can topple him. I'm not urging anyone to topple him, because that will be inciting to sedition. I'm just telling him to read history. Hindi daw nagbabasa ito. Sabihin niya kay, ano ba yung chief niya? Chua. King Chua. Basahin mo yan. Yung sinasabi nila sa pumapiligro sa dyan. Sabihin niya si Luma. Ano? Yung PR niya? Kuluma. Akala ko Luma. Kasi yung Luma ang sinasabi. May sinasabi yung Luma. At hindi tama. Labang yung may Kuluma, you know, is the Kuluma who is now the chief correspondent, the Asia editor of the Agence France Press. One of the most brilliant young men I've known. Editor-in-chief also of the brilliant University of the Philippines, Bobby Coloma. He's the only one I know. So I think this guy, every time I listen to him, lumang tutugin. Luma. Nasabi ko nga, sometimes, paluma. Kung akala ko,
Pepsi.
Hazy Bear. Ano ko, may paluma?
Pepsi.
Ibon.
Pepsi.
Hindi, yung ibon. Yung ibong paluma. A noble flying bird.
Noble bird.
So, ito ang simple lang natin. Sa BBL, it's dead from the very beginning. Unless the members of the Supreme Court will go insane. In the case of the Congress, never mind the insanity, it's been there for quite some time. In both the lower house. There are exceptions, of course, because for every rule, there is an exception. But unless, if the Congress will approve it, will give the list of the members of Congress, will approve it as is, or the remaining provisions of the Constitution violated, will include them in the crime of treason. Rebellion is coming. It's coming. And we're studying very well. Many are suggesting you file impeachment. We are studying it very well. Because if we will not be preempted, then the troublemakers usually file impeachment simply because they derail the main impeachment charges. We might do it one of these days. We might just do it one of these days. So I'm telling Congress, everybody, stop the discussion on the BBL. Nothing will happen from the concept. The concept is wrong. It will not bring peace to Mindanao. So why are you going to enter into an agreement that will not bring peace? Eh, si Katapang sabi, we will demolish the Abu Sayyaf. We will demolish the BIA. Kaya pala niyang demolish ang Abu Sayyaf at BIA. Bakit hindi nila kayang i-demolish ang Imayala? Ano ba yan? You know, something is wrong with the way their minds operate. Something is wrong. I'm sorry to say this, but in the words of Vice President Emmanuel Villegas, when I was fighting for academic freedom in the University of the Philippines and for my survival to graduate with honors, si Senator Claro Enrico told him he was planning to deliver a privileged speech in my favor. He withdrew. Sabi niya, alam mo, itong bata mo, he uses violent language. I will deliver the privileged speech anymore. Ang sagot ni Pelaez ganito, Don Claro, the boy is fighting a war. When you fight a war, you do not use perfume words. So since we are fighting the war of the people, I'm not using perfume words. I challenge Pnoy and all his NPC, KBP. Why won't we debate this? They'll have the best debaters in a symposium. The MILF, the best debaters, the other stakeholders, you don't have to invite me. You can invite others. But they invite me, I'll be willing to debate with them. Because I'm sure the questions I will ask, they cannot answer. They cannot. And there is no although for Pnoy. Hindi na si Pnoy because he cannot intelligently debate. That's a stranger to him. I'm sorry to say that. Based on his own performance, he cannot intelligently debate. And he runs away from problems. Starting with the hostage taking it. It took him 11 hours to make the crucial decision. They wanted to tire Captain Mendoza, who was a veteran warrior. They got tired after 4 hours. They went to Emerald to take merienda. No, this is not a merienda game. The stake here is the lives of 100 million Filipinos and the future of the country. You know, I wanted some young men to take over and do the fighting. The problem is, you don't see anyone around to do the fighting and to use the proper words. That's why I'm back to normal again, because I am a stakeholder in this country. I fought the Marcos wars. I fought the other wars after Marcos. For as long as I'm alive, they'll have to contend with me. I'm not through with the country, and the country is not through with me. Probably that's an immodest claim, but my resume can back me up. So, thank you. I'm sorry. I am enraged whenever I am confronted with issues like this.
We're learning from you.
The problem is simple. The solution is simple. What's the solution? Parliamentary federal. O tingnan natin kung wala bang susunod yan. Hey, the MILF is satisfied, MNLF, the Ilocanos, the Bugulanos, the Bicolanos, everybody will be satisfied because in a federal system, everyone can define his own destiny within the context of the Constitution. And then we will finally find a leader. Because in a presidential system, any fool can be president. And we have got a number of fools here. I'm not saying that he's a fool. But I'm just making a general statement. But in a parliamentary system, no fool can be elected as Prime Minister. Why? Because the Prime Minister is the primus inter pares, is the first among equals. Meaning he's the best in the parliament. So that's the solution, Pinoy. The problem with you is your advisors are only interested in money. That's the fact of the matter. You're not interested in the country. I challenge you to a debate, and I'll tell you point by point that your advisors are not interested in the country, but in the money.
Thank you, Kuya Bon. Mabuhay ka! Ayun na. Pagkit mo natin si Atty. Villegas.
Wala ng init.
Well, I am always a consistent fan of Ubono. because when he was making waves in UP, as the first one to have to stage a university-wide strike. I was at the same time the president of the Ateneo Law Council that led the Philippinization of the Ateneo. I filed a case against the American regent, Father Walter Highland, and that started the movement with Father Pacifico Lim to Philippinize the entire Ateneo setup. So came Father Araneta, Horacio de la Costa, Bernas, and others. In the same token that my grandfather, General Miguel Malvar, fought the Americans. I fought the Americans at the Ateneo and finally won the Philippinization of the entire Ateneo system. So I was just following the footsteps of Bono, who at the time was making way at the University of the Philippines as editor-in-chief of the Philippine Collegiate. Ngayon po, binanggit ni Bono na the Constitution is very clear that you do not only look into the physical fitness of the president but also in the mental capacity. And he was wondering why a mental case president is still there and what is the cabinet members doing. What is very clear is almost all the cabinet members are also mental cases. So they will never do anything to their fellow psychopathic. That's why they approve all the. That's why they approve all the operations of Pnoy, operations, Wolverine. Transformer and Exodus. Yung sinasabi ni Bono na nung bata siya, naglalaro siya ng mga games na yan, and up to now, he's still playing the same game. So, in the same manner, alam mo, I just follow his footsteps. In the same manner that he filed a treason case against the president, next week, on behalf of 13 44 members from the Cordillera, as authorized by their relatives, I'm filing a case against Purisima for usurpation of authority, the Peñas and the other generals for homicide through reckless imprudence due to their negligence as provided for in the revised penal code. And as chairman of the 1.3 million Citizens Crime Watch, I will announce it this afternoon during the 22nd anniversary of the CCW at the Technological University of the Philippines in Manila. So that in front of the families of the sub-44 martyr of Cordillera, I will show that Bono is always right in starting off these cases against government functionaries. Tawagin na nila kaming nababaliw or whatever. Hindi po pwedeng magpikit-pikitan lang tayo sa ganitong mga nangyayari sa paligid-ligid natin. And that's why Calion, Peralta, myself, and the others, we organize the RISEN44. Kasi yung pong namatay na fallen sub-44 ay nabuhay uli in the person of Calion and the others as we organize ourselves into RISEN44, and we start off. Makinig na kayo. Sabihin pa ninyo sedition or rebellion ito, and we start off a people's power on every line. sa araw ng kagitingan. Exercise sovereign people power to change government whenever they would go beyond the constitutional mandate of our people.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. At let's hear from Leon, Peralta.
Magandang araw po ulit sa inyo, mga kapatid namin sa media. Una pong sasabihin sa inyo, tama po yung sinabi ni Atty. Malvar Villegas na nag-organize kami. We are in the process of organizing RISEN44 coalition. Marami po rito ang mga kasama namin, tulad po ni Camilo, ni Cado, ni Leo, ito si Leo eh. Ngayon po, yung tumulabas po sa 2022 KC Coalition, hindi pa po ito tumitigil. Nung nakarang linggo po, kami po ay nasa Baguio para dali naman po yung tinatawag namin pagkilos sa lugar ng Baguio City. At kami po rin ay ikot sa iba't ibang city ng buong Pilipinas para gisingin po yung mga tutulong na damdamin ng ating mga kababayan. Napapansin nyo namin, hindi lang dapat sa Maynila kami kumikilos o sa Metro Manila. Dapat kumikilos po kami sa mga probinsya na tulad po nung una namin ginawa sa Baguio City. Ngayon po, yung RISEN44 was created or is being created para ipagpatuloy po yung unfinished people power na pinangako namin sa inyo noong 2022 sa Census Right at nung mga susunod mga araw. Kita namin mga pulis na doon pa eh, parang takot na takot yata sa amin. Parang sila po ang nag-occupy ng Census Right at saka yung People Power Monument. Eh sabi namin, dapat taong bayan ang nandiyan dyan, bakit nandiyan dyan ang kayo? Ayaw nyo umalis. Dahil pala, natatakot sila na anytime, babalik tayo doon at magsasagawa ng people power. Ngayon po, yung sinabi po ni Atty. Villegas, ilulusat po namin yung people power, hindi na po sa EDSA. Dahil ang paningin mo namin at ang pantanaw namin, ang EDSA po ay nasa iba't ibang lugar kasi EDSA ay isang simbolo ng lugar kung saan nagkaroon ng people power. Kaya sabi namin sa Baguio, hindi porkit nasa Baguio kayo, eh hindi kayo pwedeng mag-people power kasi ang EDSA po ay kahit saan nagkaroon. Katulad sa lugar nyo, may EDSA po rito. Kaya magsimula po tayo ng magbuklod-buklod para ilusan doon natin ang tinatawag natin unfinished true people power. So sa April 9 po, gagawin po natin ang Occupy Espanya. Hindi na po kami pupunta sa EDSA site at dito po kami sa Espanya, Welcome Rotunda, magsisimula. Kaya i-announce po namin sa inyo ang mga specific plans tungkol dito. Eh sigurado rin naman, baunahan na naman kami mga pulis doon eh. Sila na naman ang pupunta doon. Kaya hindi na namin i-allow ito. Dahil ang Espanya, gagawin namin totoong people power na dapat pumunta na po lahat ng tao bayan. Dahil naghihintay na lang po sila eh. Pag-ingat namin, ang tanong nila sa amin, kailan ba ito? Kailan ba ito? Paghintay kayo at pag kami ay narinig nyo sa radyo at napanood nyo sa TV, huwag na kayo gumawa ng mga kung ano sa Facebook nyo. Lumabas na kayo dahil mukhang sa Facebook eh napakainit na ng talakayan dyan eh. Pero hindi nakikita ang Malacanang yung init na yan sa kalsada. At ang people power magiging successful lang kung talagang ang tao ay nasa kalsada, hindi nasa Facebook. Kaya may campaign po kami ng ganyan. Ulitin ko po, dapat pagsilabas na po tayo. Pumunta na po tayo sa kalsada at sa April 9 po, iniibitahan po namin kayo na pumunta po sa Welcome Rotunda para ipagpatuloy po natin yung nakatala natin people power. Ano po? Mamaya po kami ni Atty. Villegas ay pupunta sa TUP para i-announce naman sa mga members ng CCW at saka RISEN44 na magpapayat siya ng kaso laban doon sa mga nabanggit ng tao at yung tinatawag namin people power sa ipang. Isa pa po, no? Maaaring tayo busy sa Masapano masakit. Hindi nyo po alam, nung isang araw, nagkaroon na ng pre-bid conference sa Comelec, tungkol naman sa pag-list with option to purchase ng additional 23,000 papers machine. Sino mo ba nakakabalita sa inyo na?
Wala na.
Wala. Kami po ay nandun. From Baguio, I went straight to Comelec. We went straight to Comelec para umatid po doon sa pre-bid conference nila. Kaya sabi po ng Comelec, house rules, hindi pwede magsalita yung hindi accredited observer at hindi kasama sa hindi bumili ng mga billboard. Kaya ako po po na lang sa tabi at sa awa naman ng Diyos, ako'y pinagsalita. Dalawa pa lang ang accreditation na sinasabi nila doon. Unang-una, dapat mag-apply ka in writing at yung pagkilos mo ay magiging accredit ka. Nalaman nila na si Calio ko ay isa sa mga nag-occupy Comelec for 12 days. Kaya ako'y pinagsalita. Kaya natatakot na naman yata sila na mag-occupy Comelec kami. So, yung chairperson doon, o yung chair lady, o yung chair woman doon, ay inalaw po ang lingkod para makapagsalita. Pero hindi po ako nagsalita na ron dahil baka pumagal ang proseso dahil napakahaba ng sasabihin ko. So, ang sinabi ko na lang, we will file a written manifestation on the issues tungkol doon sa terms of reference ng panibagong building ng Kilos Machine. So kahapon po, nag-file kami ng manifestation at sigurado magugulat sila sa mababasa nila. Ang tema lang po ng manifestation namin after tackling issues ay yung mga terms of reference, yung dalawa doon, ay parang tailor-fitted para manalo ulit ang staff. So, bibigyan ko po kayo ng kopya next week tungkol doon sa mga tungkol doon sa manifestation. Yun lang po. At habang tayo po'y busy sa Masapano para malaman po natin yung katotohanan, ito pong katotohanan na meron na namang dagdag na bibili at uupahan with option to purchase ang Comelec. At ang tingin namin, ang mga terms of reference ay tailor-fitted sa paborito nilang supplier. Hindi ko namin sinasabing paborito, pero lumalabas sa mga actions sila, lumalabas daming smart parties ang nanalo. Katulad po ng isang to, ang sabi nila doon, dapat may experience na 6 na taon. Nung agonation namin to, bakit nung nanalo ba ang Smartmatic noong 2010, may experience ba sila? Ngayon, dahil may experience sila ng 6 na taon, kaya nilagay na doon, dapat may experience ng 6 na taon. Oo. Yun ang sinasabi namin eh.
Baka may pagpatalino.
Bakit ganito ako? Ang dapat, dumami ang supplier niya. Dapat makasali mga Filipino companies. E paano kasali kung may requirement sila ng 6 na taon na experience? Eh sila lang naman ang may experience dito. Di ba?
Okay.
Yun lang po. At mabuhay po ulit ang mga Pilipinong lumalaban at hinihilos para sa kanilang natin.
Thank you, Leon. Before I give the floor to Maestro Ado, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my boss, Chairman ng Balitaan, si Junik Ban, Editor-in-Chief ng Manila Bulletin na yun. Yung ganda lalaking makintab ng ulo. Maestro!
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Kasama ko po si Leon Peralta sa Occupy Comelec at si Leon din at si sa 222 Movement Coalition. Kasama ko rin po si Adaza sa pagpapile noong June 28, 2010 ang nullification of the 2010 elections. At sunod po ang aming pagpapile ng mga kaso hanggang merong handa na makinig sa bulok na gobyerno ito. May papile na naman po kami sa next week. Hindi ko po ito preempt, pero this is a follow-up to the case of treason against BS Aquino Incorporated. Sa ngayon po, gusto kong bigyan ng pansin ay yung sinabi ni Bono Adaza na read between the lines. Sapagkat yung pong whitewash, ang spinners po ng Malacanang 24/7 hanggang napapansin namin hanggang social media ngayon ay talagang sumasagot na rin sila. Pero ang mga sagot nila ay kulang sa galing. Dahil alam naman natin, stupid is epidemic, especially in Malacanang. Unang-una po dito, yung ating ex-future Vice President, si Sunny Trillanes, nag-i-echo po ng Malacanang lines. Ito po, bibigyan mo kayo ng mga sample sa content analysis, contextual analysis, kung ano mga dapat ninyong bantayan. Una po sinabi ni Sunny Trillanes, B.S. Aquino, inamin po niya, is the Commander-in-Chief of the Philippine National Police. Pero sinabi niya, he is not liable for the death of the fallen 44. Yan po mga paikot. Number 2, the President did not violate the chain of command because the PNP has no chain of command. Ito po sa interview niya ito, no? Umiikot po siya ngayon eh. Mag-ipapa-interview sa TV. Pangatlo po, by going direct to General Mapeñas to execute the operations, he merely used presidential prerogative by passing Mapeñas as superior the acting PNP chief. So, yan po mga paikot ni Sunny Trillanes. Lumipat naman po tayo sa dakong Secretary of Justice at saka dito sa press office sa Malacanang. Si Dilima po at sila Sierra nag-a-agree. Una, ito sabi nila, B.S. Aquino is not the Commander-in-Chief of the Philippine National Police because the PNP is not under the AFP. Number 2, being civilian in character, he is the PNP Chief Executive. Masyadong creative ang ating mga law practitioners sa likod ng Pangulo natin. Ngayon may isa naman dito, kulang din ang utak na nasa Kongreso ngayon, si Congressman Erick. He nitpicks the over-analysis now of the Board of Inquiry. B.S. Aquino cannot be the Commander-in-Chief because the President is above the PNP chain of command. Ano? Totoo ba yun? Ano itong mga narinig natin? Grabe ang spinning. Nililito-lito na lang tayo. Pero the best dito si General Katapa, no? That has still to prove that he is worth his family name. Sumali na rin po sa bagwago ng mga sinungaling. We have found out that the box, yung pong kinalalagyan lugar ng mga Sapano, has become a haven for terrorists, bomb-making, and training for lawlessness. What? Wala ba kayong military intelligence? Ito rin yung mga Sapano incident, blessing, dahil because of this now, nalaman nila that it's become a haven for terrorist bomb-making and training for lawlessness. Ay pag ganyan ang ating AFP, we are in serious problem. Number 2, the Jamaya Islamic movement were the cuddlers of Marwan and Usman, not the MILF. Pero nung mahuli yung leader ng JIM, Jamaya Islamic Movement, tinanong siya ngayon, nasaan na po ngayon si Usman? At sabi na, ibinalik na raw ng JIM sa BIFF. So, yan po mga acrobatics, no, na nangyayari ngayon. And then finally, para pagandahin yung interview, the AFP has recommended 67 million. The military has recommended 67 million for peace projects, and the President has approved it. Ano ito? These are civilian projects. Anong ginagawa ni Duling Deles at ni Miriam Ferrer? Ano ginagawa nila? Lahat po ito ay para, kung napapansin nyo, lahat ng paikot ay para burahin sa isip ng tao that the President is liable for anything. Okay? Pero ito po, matagal na natin tinatalakay dito sa balitaan dito, that for the DAP and the PDAP, the President was liable. Marami lang pwede ikaso sa kanya riyan. Hinihintay na lang mawala siya sa posto. Eh, ito pang mamasapano, murder, more massacre, hindi siya liable dito. Samantalang klaro-klaro, doon nga sa dapat pitap, hindi pa klaro na inaprubahan niya ang project. Dito, klaro. Doon sa dapat pitap, hindi pa nga klaro kung pinahiram niya yung otoridad niya kay Abad para mabuhin ang ating pork barrel system. Dito, klaro-klaro. Hindi lang pababa kayo ng penyas, kundi pa, dumaan pa kayo, pulisima. So dito, pag-file nito, nandiyan na lahat, prima facie na yan. Eh kaso, wala ng death penalty. So, perpetua? Perpetua na lamang. Pero, Bono, I hate to disappoint you. You can file all the cases, but I'm already lawyering for B.S. Aquino when you file these cases, because when we face court, and I'm not even an attorney, he can always plead not guilty for all of this on the grounds of insanity.
Hindi mo. Okay, let's hear from Dato Ameer, tapos si Wilson. Dato, tapos si Jay, kayo pa nagigigil to eh. Ay, pakibay na yun.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning po na sa inyo at sa atin ang naway kapayapaan ng pagkailanman. Ang ating nasa masag ng kapayapaan sa lahat dito sa ating republikang ito. Being a royal rally of the Philippines, the leader of the Muslim cleric, hindi naman extremist ako. So, to represent the peace, harmony, unity and development in our country. So kami pong bilang mga Muslim na relihiyosong grupo ay sumusunod at sumusuporta sa kapayapaan Muslim and non-Muslim. Subalit, doon po sa balutut na prinsipyo, Muslim man siya o Kristiyano, kami po ay hindi sumayaw. Ngayon halos na wala kong sasabihin doon sa sinasabi ng magiting at kagalanggalang na ay like a father is Bono Adaza. At ito po ay lumalaban mula sa pool hanggang sa ngayon sa katuwiran at karapatan ng mamayan ito. Dito pong sa usaping mamasapano, lahat po ng kaso meron tayo, lahat po ng problema ng ating bansa na focus sa mga sapano. Well, in fact, it is the mission of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Ito po ay mission ni Napino at the Malaysian Intelligence. Ngayon, nagka-problema ang bansa ito sa mga itong problema nito. Dito naman sa BBL, binanggit na ni Bono ang Article 1, 2, 3, 7, etc. Halos lahat po ang article ng Constitution. Nandoon na ang violation ng ating Pangulo. Pero ito pinagtatakpan pa ng ibang-ibang sekretary ang kanilang mga ginagawang kabalututan. Ngayon naman, itong BBL na ito, kung tutusin, dapat na sana magkonsulta si Pnoy sa mga kanyang abogado. Kaya itong MLF na 1996 peace agreement sa MLF, ito po ay hindi pa natatapos. Hindi pa natatapos ito. Nandun pa sino hanggat sa nagagawa, sino na inenjekan ng sinumang tao, nagagawa ng kaguluhan kung ano ito. Ito ang paninira upang hindi matutuloy itong MNLF pa 1996 peace agreement. Bakit pa ginawa ang tinatawag BBL, basic law ito? Well, in fact, the MNLF nandoon ng batas na nagawa na, nandoon ng ARMM, bakit hindi pa buti ng ARMM ito? Ito po ang pagkataka ng kamusliman, katulad namin, dito sa gobyernong national ito, sa Manila Imperial Government nito. Bakit hindi sincere? Kami pong mga Muslim ay pinakatunay na gustong sa kapayapaan. Kami po ay, kung sincere lang ang gobyerno, maglatag ng programa ng development, wala itong angal. Kasi ang bansa natin nasa state of poverty. Ang nagharing uri, ang mga dayuhang sa bansa natin, ang maraming lupain, malawak lupain. Kung tutusin doon sa Mindanao, alam nga ni Atty, ang lupain sa Mindanao, ito po ay sinakop ng mga ibang bansa. Ang mga lupain ng mga kamusliman. Kung tutusin, kung sinong malawak na lupain, hindi po kayo mga Muslim. Doon mismo sa Basilan, itong si Ginoong Senado, si Endile po, more than 1,000 2,000 lupain ng mga yakan ng Netro Basilan, ito ay kinamkam niya. Sino mga kaulupa? Muslim ba? Sabi ng marami, ang Muslim daw ay terorista, extremist, mamatay tao. Kung Muslim, minsan ako nga, kung gamit kong ganitong gamit ko, being a grand imam, hindi ako pinarahan ng tax po. Parang nagtakot sila. Ano itong klase ng discrimination sa mga Muslim nito? Well, in fact, tayong Pilipino, isang bansa tayo. Di ba? So ito pong dapat kayo pong mga media ay ipaabot niyo po ito. Kayo ang maglagay ng sulat. Muslim, ganito. Dapat naman is yung may different city kung sino ang Muslim. Alam ni Bono ito, ang Muslim, mga kaibigan na tauso, katulad ko sa pong tauso. From the anchor of the Royal Sultan of Sulu, na-interview na po dito si Ismail Kiram, kung sino-sino po mga sultan dito, ay maraming ito po, because of the conflict of interest. Ito ang dahilan. Ito pong MILF, Abu Sayyaf, Jamal Sima, conflict of interest ito. Itong sultanate claim ng North Borneo, conflict of interest ito. Kasi ang North Borneo, ang Malaysian Government Authority, Erick, handa pong magbigay ng hundreds of billions. Ito pong dahilan kaya responsible ang BBL para hindi lang matasa ang North Borneo. Iyon pong dahilan. Well, in fact, maliwanag din sa atin at alam niyo ang history ng Pilipinas, kung anong North Borneo, kung anong Sultan of Sulu. Bakit hindi suportahan ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas para malis ng corruption na ito? Doon tayo sumangayon sa federal system ng gobyerno para lahat may representation. Yan lang po.
Thank you, Dato. Alam mo naman dito sa atin, pag mayroong action tuan, iba nang nagaganap dito. Lahat binabiolate. Now, let's hear from Wilson lang, advocate ng anti-poverty campaign. Alam mo, Wilson, let's face it, politics begins and ends in economics. At ako, alam ko, sa Chinese community, we can read your mind regarding this dahil lumalaki na yung problema ng bayan. Wilson.
Magandang maga po mga kalugay. Alam mo, huwag tayo kalumugan. Hindi na uso ngayon ang Chinese na yung Pilipino. Ang uso ngayon, tayo ay lahat anak ng Diyos.
Very good.
So tayo pinangalan, kaya tungkulin natin maging tapat sa bansa nito. Walang ebola. Ngayon, gagawa tayo ng kabutihan, hindi para tayo yumaman. Gumawa tayo ng pagkabutihan para ang biyaya mapupunta sa ating mga kaapu-apuhan. Dahil anumang ginagawa natin, nakatingin sa atin yung mga nasa itaas. Kaya sabi ko, tuwing gumagawa ko ng kabutihan, sabi ko, San Pedro, pag di ako tumama sa Grand Lotto, pag akyat ko dyan, magpupuntahan tayo. Natanong ko ako, nasa batas ba natin na pwedeng i-demanda ang isang taong sira ulo?
Sagutin yung dalawa
Wala sa batas.
Kung lumalakad tayo, nakita natin isang aso ulo, papatulan ba natin? Di ba gagawin natin? Huli, tapo na lang sa tulungan.
Very good.
Sayang ng oras natin. Di ba ba? Maraming paraan. Ha? Eh, ang meron sa atin, justice system, hindi justice. Tingnan mo, isang taon nakasala, 20 taon bago siya makulong. Dito sa atin, dito, kung gumawa ko ng droga, illegal, takulungan, hindi illegal. Di ba?
Pasok na rin sa kulungan.
Eh baka pag pinasok sa kulungan niya, lalong lalakas ang loob doon. Kaya isa tayo ng ibang paraan, di ba bilis? Pag pinatukan natin isang tao, hilo siya. Pero kung pinaalam natin, papunta tayo dyan, nakahanda na siya. Sana ganyan gawin natin. Kami ganito din. Sana, yun lang.
Thank you, Wilson. Maganda. Input mo. Mana Jerry. Kanina pa nag-i-give si Mana Jerry.
I'm as passionate as Bono, Adaza, and Atty. Malvar Villegas because I read the book of Bono. It was a gift to me during one of the Christmas parties at BALITAAN SA REMBRANT. Alam ko yung mga pinagdaanan niya. He cited all the histories of past presidents. But the thing is, ito, ang kakain, Bono talked about federalism, and I asked the same question from Lenny Pimentel last week, that there is an autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao. It was not governed well. It's the BBL now, a change of system because of what they call failure in governance of the failed ARMM experiment. Bono?
There is no failure of governance in the ARMM. As a matter of fact, si Hatam, I'm not saying he's doing well, but he's coursing along. He's coursing along. But, alam nyo, the problem here has nothing to do in Mindanao. The problem here is the leader. And the problem of the leader is his head. That's the problem. That's the nature of the problem. If one day, let's assume, tomorrow, there'll be a new leader who knows his onions, who knows how to solve the problems, who knows the solutions, then all these problems will be solved. Sinabi ko nga kanina, simple problems need simple solution. Hindi yung convoluted solution. Daming hearings dyan, daming hearings dito. Ang hearings, para lang yan sa mga taong walang alam. Yung mga taong may alam, hindi nyo kailangan ng hearings eh. Bakit? In the words of Henry Kissinger, if a person gets to be the president and he doesn't know how to be president, he'll never learn until the end of his term. That's what's happening here. We are installing presidents who know nothing. Who know nothing. Because the system allows or sponsors the elections of leaders who will take the dictation of the oligarchy in this country. If you are a brilliant leader, you have a brilliant mind, you know the solutions to the country, you'll never get elected. You'll never get elected unless you have the adjustments like Ferdinand Marcos. He had plans for the country. He was adjusting to the oligarchy. The main problem is instead of pursuing until the end of his term the reforms he had in mind, he could not do it. Why? He was sick. Second, he committed a lot of indiscretions which made him in effect a slave of Melda. Because the moment you commit indiscretions and your wife knows about it, you will never be able to have a sound sleep. And to evade that kind of a problem, you will agree to almost everything your wife will tell you. You will agree. That's a matter of common knowledge for everyone who is married. Yes. So that's our problem. Our problem here basically is a leader. And you cannot have that kind of a leader in an election.
I agree.
And one of our mistakes is when we did each one, we thought Cory will agree to the agreement. The agreement is Cory will just cut ribbons and the Prime Minister, that's Doy Laurel, and the rest of the members of the cabinet will govern the country. He did not observe that. He did not observe because Doy was willing to fight because according to him, it's difficult to fight a woman. It's an occasion in really difficult to fight a woman. But when you want to be leader of the country, you should be willing to fight anyone.
Yes.
Anyone.
Yes.
Woman, man, he-man, she-man, whatever. No, gawa ng Diyos yan. Gawa ng Diyos. You're willing to fight anyone.
Question.
Yes.
I agree with your position. I like federalism. The other question is about the cases that will be filed against Pnoy when he steps down. But the thing is, there is a concern that if Binay wins and Binay has the support of Aquino's sisters, etc., he might get away with it. What's your opinion?
Well, at the rate things are going, frankly, at the rate things are going, I don't believe 2016 elections will come. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Why? Because there are many forces in this country that are working. Yeah. To assume that everybody agrees that there will be elections in 2016 is a hallucinatory assumption. It's imaginary. Because when you begin analyzing the situation in the country today, what you will immediately say is this. Binay is no fool. He's being attacked from all directions. And if Pinoy's thinking will be changed a little bit, I think Binay, before 2016, will be in jail. He'll be in jail. His wife will be in jail. His son will be in jail. His wealth will probably be garnished by the government. If you were Binay, are you crazy to allow anybody to do that? Of course not. Because Binay is quite sane. He's sane. So what do you expect Binay to do? Do you think Binay will wait for an election, considering that the mind of Pinoy is not necessarily in his favor? Binay is trying to say na I am for Pinoy, I owe it not to the Aquinos, for his fear that he will give instructions to his people that let's have Binay in jail, the son in jail, the wife in jail. So Binay is also careful, he's using his head. Sabi, one of these days, I will make my move. The problem with Binay probably is his advisors. His problem is his advisors. The problem is very simple. The solution is very simple. If you are in touch with Binay, I'm offering my legal services. No, I'm not offering to him. I am asking him to use his head to get the necessary lawyer. What's the solution? But if he decides to get me, it's going to be expensive. Because my fees, my acceptance fees in this case is 200 million. Why? To be a viable candidate for president in this country, you've got to have 10 billion, not 1 billion. 10% in the case of, he might deny this, but close circles to Manny Villar said he spent 12 billion in the 2010 elections and he lost. He was even number 3. He was not number 2. I was telling him 1 year before the election, Manny, how much do you need to spend? He told me, probably 5 billion. Were you crazy spending 5 billion? You give the 1 billion or 2 billion to somebody who will make you president without any risk within the next 6 months from the time of delivery. Yeah. You'll be president. You'll be president. In the case of Binay, he should choose a lawyer who knows its onions, who can give him the proper advice for the idea and the money for execution. Binay will have to spend about 10 billion. You have to spend to be a viable candidate and to win. Why not spend 500 million?
One last comment for Ado about chain of command. I just circulated the article that will come out in next week's edition of Opinion and Tribune of Attorney Ronnie Pono about the chain of command, both private and public. I've been in private business for 40 years. While there is no chain of command, there is respect. If you're a janitor, you go to your supervisor until it reaches the president. But normally, in corporate organizations, the president can tell the janitor, do this, clean the windows, it's dirty, something like that. So I'd like Ado to explain further what he meant by the lack of chain of command.
In the corporate setting, this is what we call basically the table of organization. Because in any organization, in any table of organization, it is very basic that there is a continuous flow from the top employer to the lowest employee. This is also the secret of an ordered society. If you go out of the Philippines, immediately, makikita nyo ang diferensya. Oh, huwag na kayong outside of the country. Pumunta na lang kayo sa Subic. Huwag kayong mag-true stop. No? May order dyan eh. It's an ordered society and the police downstairs for the security are implementing it to the letter. Ngayon, sisimplihan ko lang ho ang sagot ko because hindi naman ako lawyer. Ano ba? Kaya nakakaroon ng state of anarchy ngayon sa ating bansa dahil hindi tayo ordered society. Sabi ko nga, we are a country with a problem for every solution. Di po ba? A country with a problem for every solution. Yung pong AES law sa eleksyon, solusyon yon. Ginawan ng COMELEC ng problema para magkaroon ng mga butas para makapasok yung COMELEC operators. Tinapalan na po lahat siya ni Dick Gordon, binuksan uli ng COMELEC. Balik tayo sa chain of command. Alright? Kung sa private corporation in any organization na civilian, merong orderly delineation of powers and responsibilities. Doon pa kaya sa may hawak ng baril. Kaya po very strict na yung command responsibility ay ini-implement lalo na sa mga taong may hawak ng baril, ang kapulisan at ang mga sundalo. Hindi lamang po dyan, pati sa mga blue guards, apektado po sila yan. Yung ating mga security agencies, they all fall this because yung pong paghawak ng baril ay under the supervision of alam naman ninyo, di ba, ng kapulisan. They have the power to licensing and all that stuff. So my understanding of a chain of command is just an orderly delineation of powers, responsibilities, and accountabilities. And in the case of, and that is true in any organization, kaya nga sinasabi ko, kay Commander-in-Chief ka o Chief Executive ka, ano ba naman ang diferensya between the civilian nature of the PNP and the military nature of the AFP? Wala! Yung liability niyan is common to both. Pagka ikaw, nagkamali sa iyong, ikaw ang top man, nagkamali ka sa iyong desisyon, or hindi ka nagdesisyon, in other words, by commission or by omission, you might be criminally liable depending on the consequences of your action. To me, that is a more layman understanding of a chain of command. Ngayon, dito sa Mamasapalo incident, ako'y nalulungkot na yung Albarca massacre, noong October 18, 2011, where 19 of our Army Special Forces, dapat ho yan piniplay up sa media ngayon dahil tinakpan nila yan, kinoberat nila yan. Ito po, noong August 2011, nagbigay po ng 5 milyon. Si B.S. Aquino kay Murad Ibrahim sa Tokyo, yung secret meeting nilang not so secret. Okay? August po yun. Noong October, 19 na Army Special Forces ang namatay sa Albarca. Alright. Doon po sa 19 ngayon, 6 nahuli ng buhay. Pero nang datnan ng mga kapulisan, no, when the Albarca police control the area, they also got the 6 dead. So yung pong 6 na yun, minerder. Maaari po sabihin natin yung 13 died in combat. Pero yung 6, definitely, because they surrendered to the MILF. Now what is the commonality between Albarca and Mama Sapano? Jafar, Ibrahim, Murad, and your favorite, Muakdel Iqbal. Sila rin po ang mga spokesperson, Muakdel Iqbal, I'm sorry. Sila rin ang mga spokesperson na nag-defend dyan. Pero pareho ho yan. Ang naiba lang, armed forces dito, police dito. So I appeal to the members of media to also include in all these considerations the murder of these 19 Army Special Forces. Okay, bakit po? Because it is now becoming clearer, not just in this panel, na meron po talagang diferensya. At babasahin ko po sa inyo, noong po namatay si Cory Aquino, naglilinis po ng mga memorabilia si Chris Aquino sa kanilang garahe. At nakakita siya ng isang parang libro na compilation file, no? At ito, tinurnover niya, for lack of a better understanding, hindi niya binasa. Tinurnover niya ito sa isang foundation. At ito po na-publish thereafter. Ito po yung mga sulat ni Ayn Rand kay Ninoy Aquino. Sino po yung nagsusulatan? Si Ayn Rand po ay isang American communist writer. Very prolific writer. And she claims herself also to be a philosopher. Kayo na po ang maghusga. Babasahin ko lang sa inyo.
Sige po.
Ayn Rand to Ninoy Aquino. Quote, when we met, you expressed concern about your son's intellectual capacity. While eating boogers isn't all that normal for a teenager, I wouldn't go so far so as to call him mentally retarded. What you should be more concerned with is his reading material. I suggest you let him read Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead, and Capitalism. The unknown ideal. That's all for the meantime. We'll give you a second to read list later on. In other words, si Ninoy Aquino po, nagre-reklamo kay Ayn Rand na yung anak niya kumakain ng kulamot.
Kulamot?
Boogers.
Boogers, ha?
Ngayon, kung yan po ay trabaho na isang taong normal, bahala na po kayo. Maghusga. Samantala, sasabihin ko lang po, bago ko bitawan ng mikropono, dahil dito sa paghingi ng kung sino-sino, including Grace Labansares, ng apology from the President, I fully agree with Christine Clemencio, the widow of PO2, Mark Joy Clemencio, isa sa mga SAF victims. Sabi niya, there's no point if he does apologize. Because he is pressured. it's better if the people ask him to step down. Mr. President, your apology will be in your stepping down. You cannot even resign because you were never elected. You cannot be impeached because you were never elected. So, Mr. President, step down. Now na! Ngayon na!
Okay, final statement from Cabono, tapos kay Atty. Villegas.
Now, before the final statement, I would just like to state the legality of chain of command. It's legal. You don't have to make any reference to private enterprise. The chain of command in any organization in the Philippines ends with the president. You know why? PNP is an institution under the DILG. The head of the DILG is Marrojas. So from the PNP chief, it goes to Marrojas. Who is Marrojas? Marrojas is the alter ego of the president. The alter ego and has to report to the president. So the chain of command is from down here to repeat from PNP to the ILG to the president. That cannot be an issue of debate. I was wondering why these lawyers of the president are using very weird interpretations of the law. Kung sabi dyan sa law, res ipsa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself. You don't have to go anywhere. They are all wrong. These people who are trying to defend Pnoy that there is no chain of command. This should all be changed because there is no command. Okay. Now, by way of last word, the problem in this country is really very simple. What's our problem? Our problems is we have many problems that the leader cannot solve. So what is really our problem? In order that the problem should be solved, we need a leader. We need a leader. Let's examine the array of leaders in this country. Do we have a solution in any one of them? The first question that should be asked of them is, what is your vision of the country and what are your programs in support of this vision? Nobody will be able to answer this. Not any one of them. I've not heard any one of them saying their vision of the country and what are the programs in support of that vision. That's the kind of leader we need. We are 100 million Filipinos. And elections will not solve our problems because we cannot elect that kind of leader. He will not be elected by the way we conduct elections. So, where are the remedies? The remedies is in Section 1, constitutional remedies. I'm saying that the people should do this. I'm not saying that the military should do this. But the people should take a look at Section 1, Article 2 of the Constitution. I will repeat it. The Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. EDSA 1, EDSA 2. Section 3 of Article 2. I want everybody to know what are the duties. Civilian authority is at all times superior to the military. That's the rule. The exception, the provision is the armed forces of the Philippines is the protector of the people and the state. In other countries in the world, in Latin America and in Africa, the word protector is not used. It's guardian. And this kind of provision, which is supposed to institutionalize EDSA, is a provision to mount a coup d'etat against a government that doesn't fulfill its duties. Number 3, its goal, meaning the armed forces, its goal is to secure the sovereignty of the state and the integrity of the national territory. That's the duty of the armed forces of the Philippines from Katapang down. Question: are the people in the military today looking at that provision of the Constitution? Oh, no. Are they? Do they know what the provision means? It's not sovereignty bargained away. It's not territory bargained away. So what are the duties? Under Section 3 of Article 2. Just want to remind, I'm not asking them to do anything. They just should study the provisions of the Constitution and take it from me from there. Maybe I'll watch on the sidelines. Thank you and good morning. Eric, thank you for this privilege.
Thank you, Atty. Adaza, at lastly from Atty. Villegas.
We never had a leader that has a vision, because all our presidents were just implementing the visions of the Americans. No one else. And it will continue on and on until we rid ourselves of this colonial mentality. When my grandfather, General Miguel Malvar, signed the agreement to put a finish to the Philippine-American War, because the death of about 500,000 to 1 million Filipinos were still increasing, and although the forces of my grandfather were able to cause 40,000 casualties among the American forces, yet they were causing a big toll, not only among the revolutionary forces but among the civilians, who they massacred at will, in the same manner that they massacred the Indians during the American-Indian War. The Manakiga massacre, the Calamba massacre, the Marinduque massacre, and many others. So after they took over, this colonial master has continued to focus their colonial rule through the mentality of an elite force, which controls our country since the beginning of the so-called Commonwealth. So, tayo po hanggang sa ngayon ay naghahanap, sabi nga ni Pumupuno, ng isang leader. At hindi na natin siguro makikita yan habang hindi natin itumba yung mentalidad ng mga Pilipino na mas gusto pa nila ang Amerikano kaysa sa kanilang sariling mga kababayan. Yan po ang katotohanan. And as President of the third longest existing political party in the Philippines, the Lapi ang Manggagawa, since 52 years when it was instituted by our labor leaders and other union that started off the labor party in the Philippines, we've always been fighting for a federal form of government. And finally, we might be able to attain that through a provisional government, which we are now trying to install in this country.
Thank you, Atty. Villegas. At ito, may scoop ako sa inyo, Narito sa isang intelligence officer. Sir, all the problems of Pnoy is coming from this Teflon Executive Secretary Jojo Ochoa. The Zamboanga payoff of 60 million pesos by Western Dice to look for Baku and Usman, using a fake Marwan, a look-alike named Nasir, as the post-flag operation and sting operation hatched in an intelligence agency Asia Operations Center in Thailand. Reason why Mike Stone was seen in Manila when the Dragonte came in. 15 million was the down payment given to the MLF for the apprehension of the terrorist troika in Mamasapano. Kaya pinagsabong yung ating MI sa talagang decide to pay yung deal na to. But a leak of this info angered the MLF and the BIA from the area. A certain Gamay, a close ally, ito na pala yung spotter, Gamay, a close ally and classmate of Basit Usman, was the white guy's point man and spotter. His cell phone number is 0917-335-2415. While funds given by the Ampatuan is managed by Juliet Tercero, the municipal administrator of Mayor Bensal Ampatuan of Mamasapano. She also handles the funding for the BIFF, headed by Commander Big Time, the younger brother of Bensan Ampatuan and grandson of the patriarch Banarin Ampatuan. Tamo yung lalim mo itong laro ito. Big Time is honestly protected by top people in the East Income, including some PNP in Davao, Basit and Malvar's handler was MI Commander Biok Carmini. Basit Usman, Ayas Bandi. His cell phone number 0998-498-2401. Kita mo bakit? Wala ba yung military natin yung ganitong data? Ha? Benson has been bragging that the army is in his payroll. In the area. Possibly the reason why the Peñas didn't trust them for information and verification. And one more. There's now a diplomat coming in, an emissary from Washington this weekend. It's up to you to discover what it is all about. I'd like to thank everyone. See you next week.
Yan ang mga story behind that. Okay, ang